Here we go, everybody, back into the History Jasher. We're now moving along into chapter 16, and we have this taxer here, Chedorlaomer. He attacked Sodom. And here we go with verse 1 in the history here. And once as at that time Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, sent to all the neighboring kings, to Nimrod, king of Shinar, who was under his power, and to Tidal, king of Goim, and to Arioch, king of Laeser, with whom he made a covenant, saying, Come up to me and assist me, that we may smite all the towns of Sodom and its inhabitants, for they have rebelled against me these 13 years. And these 4 kings went up with all their camps, about 800,000 men, and they went as they were, and smote every man they found in their road. And the 5 kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemmeber, king of Zeboim, Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, and Bela, king of Zor, went out to meet them, and they all joined together in the valley of Siddim. And in 4 here, and these 9 kings made war in the valley of Siddim, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were smitten before the kings of Elam. And the valley of Siddim was full of lime pits. And the kings of Elam pursued the kings of Sodom, and the kings of Sodom with their camps fled, and fell into the lime pits, and all that remained went to the mountain for safety. And the 5 kings of Elam came after them, and pursued them to the gates of Sodom, and they took all that there was in Sodom. In 6, and they plundered all the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they also took Lot, Abram's brother's son. Okay, so you can see everything's boiling here. So in 6, they plundered all the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they also took Lot, Abram's brother's son, and his property, and they seized all the goods of the cities of Sodom, and they went away, and Enoch, Abram's servant, who was in the battle, saw this, and told Abram all that the kings had done to the cities of Sodom, and that Lot was taken captive by them. In 7, that's what I'm talking about, Abram keeping his word. He said, you get in trouble, I'll be there. Okay, in 7, and Abram heard this, and he rose up with about 318 men that were with him. And he that night pursued these kings, and smote them. And they all fell before Abram and his men. And there was none remaining but the 4 kings who fled, and they went each his own road. And once again, the Lord is the God of battles. We don't have to be the great populace. We don't have to be the majority. You've heard that thing where the majority rules. Well, actually, if the majority rules, that's what we're talking about when they say democracy, that they can brainwash the majority of people to be the overwhelming majority and serve their purposes. So we need to go by law. And what kind of law? Well, first off, God's law above every other law. Okay? So rule of law is what you need, not the majority rules. Because, as you know, it's just a remnant out here of people with any brains left. It just is. Most people are under the spell. Now, they wouldn't think they're under a spell. Of course not. So you don't want majority ruling. And like I said, I've had the military people come tell me, oh my, if there's ever a battle, you American people and your firearms, you'll lose. Listen, God will decide who wins and loses, folks. Look at this. 318 men? Okay, that's because God is on his side. Is God on our side, folks? Is Jesus Christ on our side? Well, then we can't lose. All right. Okay, and Abram recovered all the property of Sodom, and he also recovered Lot and his property, his wives and his little ones, and all belonging to him, so that Lot lacked nothing. See? Without God, that would be impossible. And with God, all things are possible. 9, and when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his 10 men passed the valley of Siddim.
It's just he and his men.
And when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his men passed the valley of Siddim, where the kings had made war together. Period. In 10, and Bera, king of Sodom, and the rest of his men that were with him, went out from the lime pits into which they had fallen to meet Abram and his men. All right, now we have the difference in translation here. It's in spelling. This is Melchizedek here. All right, in 11, and Adon-Azek, which is really Melchizedek in the King James, king of Jerusalem, the same was Shem, went out with his men to meet Abram and his people, and with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. 12, and Adon-Azek met, and Adonizek blessed Abram, and Abram gave him a tenth from all that he had brought from the spoil of his enemies. For Adonizek was a priest before God. Yeah, and he didn't have birth or death. He was placed there by God. So he was there, and he was king of the prophets, folks, or at this time. 13, and all the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah who were there with their servants approached Abram and begged of him to return them their servants, whom he had made captive, and to take unto himself all the property. And Abram answered the kings of Sodom, saying, As the Lord liveth, who created heaven and earth, and who redeemed my soul from all affliction, and who delivered me this day from my enemies, and gave them into my hand, I will not take anything belonging to you, that you may not boast tomorrow, saying, Abram became rich from our property that he saved. Okay, so all this is in the Old Testament there. And this gives you it's a different translation, and it harmonizes totally with the the Old Testament. 15, it says, For the Lord my God, in whom I trust, said unto me, Thou shalt lack nothing, for I will bless thee in all the works of thy hands. Okay. And that's the same thing he's saying to us today. I don't care what they do, how many tanks, how many bullets, how many machine guns, where you're mowing people down. Big tough guy, aren't you? You're mowing people down. I don't care. In the end, the saints are going to take over the firmament of the earth with Jesus Christ, Father, and the Son, and the New Jerusalem, and that will last forever. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. So all your tanks and bullets and all your carnal thinking and your worldly world is going down. How about that? And here he promised Abram, and of course he delivered. Just like we're promised the future, aren't we? 16, And now therefore, behold, here is all belonging to you. Take it and go. As the Lord liveth, I will not take from you from a living soul down to a shoe tie or thread, excepting the expense of the food of those who went out with me to battle, as also the portions of the men who went with me, Anar, Ashcol, and Mamre. They and their men, as well as those also who had remained to watch the baggage, they shall take their portion of the spoil. 17, And the kings of Sodom gave Abram according to all that he had said, and they pressed him to take of whatever he chose, but he would not. 18, And he sent away the kings of Sodom and the remainder of their men, and he gave them orders about Lot. And they went to their respective places. 19, And Lot, his brother's son, he also sent away with his property, and he went with them, and Lot returned to his home, to Sodom, and Abram and his. Abram and his people returned to their land, to the plains of Mamre, which is in Hebron. 20, At that time the Lord again appeared to Abram in Hebron, and he said to him, Do not fear, thy reward is very great before me, for I will not leave thee until I shall have multiplied thee and blessed thee, and made thy seed like the stars in heaven, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Okay, now, again, this is not just in flesh. This is in the spiritual seed also. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Notice it said, as the stars, and the stars are the host of heaven. They all serve the Lord in their courses, in their times. Those are the angels in heaven. They just are. 21, that's why he's called the Lord of hosts. And the hosts are what? The stars of heaven. And they will come to earth with the new Jerusalem temple. And I will give unto thy seed all these lands that thou seest with thine eyes. To them will I give them for an inheritance forever. Only be strong, and do not fear. Walk before me and be perfect. Those are orders for us today, folks. You understand this is not fulfilled back there with Moses and Joshua. You understand they did not receive this totally because they were what? Cast out of those lands. But it will be forever. because it's going to be forever with the new firmament of the earth that's created. Okay? So this promise in 21, the number of judgments in Revelation, will be fulfilled. God will not break his word. In 22, Rio died. And in the 78th year of the life of Abram, in that year died Reu, the son of Peleg, and all the days of Reu were 239 years, and he died. 23, and Sarai, the daughter of Haran, Abram's wife, was still barren in those days. She did not bear to Abram either son or daughter. 24, and when she saw that she bare no children, she took her handmaid Hagar, whom Pharaoh had given her, and she gave her to Abram, her husband, for a wife. Okay, so you see how this is Egyptian here with Hagar. 25, for Hagar learned all the ways of Sarai, as Sarai taught her. She was not in any way deficient in following her good ways. So that's a good thing. 26, and Sarai said to Abram, behold, here is my handmaid Hagar. Go to her, that she may bring forth upon my knees, that I may also obtain children through her. Okay, so they're going to go around. They're going to go around God's way of doing it. And we got to be careful of that. That we don't try to do something that is not ordained by God. Okay? Because if it ain't in the Bible, it ain't going to happen. Now, everything we're reading about here, it's all in the Bible. And the future is in the Bible also. So in 27, and at the end of 10 years of Abram's dwelling in the land of Canaan, which is the 85th year of Abram's life, Sarai gave Hagar unto him. And Abram hearkened to the voice of his wife Sarai, and he took his handmaid Hagar, and Abram came to her, and she conceived. And when Hagar saw that she had conceived, she rejoiced greatly, and her mistress was despised in her eyes. And she said within herself, this can only be that I am better before God than Sarai, my mistress. For all the days that my mistress has been with my Lord, she did not conceive, but me the Lord has caused in so short a time to conceive by him. 30, and when Sarai saw that Hagar had conceived by Abram, Sarai was jealous of her handmaid, and Sarai said within herself, this is surely nothing else but that she must be better than I. Now see, there they are making all these assertions, both of them, and that's just not correct. It's all in God's timing. We're going to have our victory. It ain't going to be tomorrow, because there's things that got to come to pass before Christ returns. So it's in God's timing that we got to look at this. Well, it's on its way. It's well on its way, folks. And but it has to be done. There's a day and an hour in which God will put these monsters off our back from Lucifer on down. Okay? But God's timing is perfect. You've heard that. Well, in this case, it's right. 31, and Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee, for at the time when thou didst pray before the Lord for children, why didst thou not pray on my account, that the Lord should give me seed from thee? And she's still wrong. She's still wrong in what she's saying here. 32, and when I speak to Hagar in thy presence, she despiseth my words, because she has conceived, and thou wilt say nothing to her. May the Lord judge between me and thee for what thou hast done to me. And Abram said to Sarai, Behold, thy handmaid is in thy hand. Do unto her as it may seem good in thy eyes. And Sarai afflicted her, and Hagar fled from her to the wilderness. And an angel of the Lord found her in the place where she had fled by a well, and she said to her,
And he said to her,
34, and the angel of the Lord found her in the place where she had fled by a well, and he said to her, Do not fear, for I will multiply thy seed, for thou shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael. Now then return to Sarai, thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And Hagar called the place of that well Beer Lahara. It is between Kadesh and the wilderness of Bered. 36, Ishmael is born here. And Hagar at that time returned to her master's house. And at the end of days, Hagar bare a son to Abram, and Abram called his name Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when he begot him. All right, in 17 we have the rape of the Sabians. Okay, here we go in 17. In verse 1, we have the Sabian-Roman War. And in those days, in the 91st year of the life of Abram, the children of Chittim, and this is in parentheses, Rome, made war with the children of Tubal. For when the Lord had scattered the sons of men upon the face of the earth, the children of Chittim went and embodied themselves in the plain of Canopia. And they built themselves cities there and dwelt by the river Tiberu. Okay. Is that not another name for Tigris? I think it is. And look here, Chittim is Europe. Now remember that, because when you see prophecies, it's gonna talk about Chittim, and it's gonna talk about Tubal. So remember that, folks. And that way, when the Lord gives you his prophecies, say in the book of Revelations or in the book of Daniel, when the boats of Chittim come against the Antichrist, those are the boats of Europe. Okay? And that's what I said with Alexander the Great. And we talk about Chittim and Alexander the Great. See, he's the big king of Rome, where the Antichrist is coming out of, where the throne was moved there from Pergamos, right? Moved to Germany in the great Roman Empire. All prophecy fulfilled. Anyway, so these names now have what? Meaning to us in the New Testament prophecies, which are nothing but the Old Testament prophecies. That's right. 2, and the children of Tubal dwelt in Tuscana, and their boundaries reached the river Tiberu. And the children of Tubal built a city in Tuscanan, and they called the name Sabina, after the name of Sabina, son of Tubal, their father, and they dwelt there unto this day. Now, these are some cultic people here. These people loved the giants, they loved the Rephaim, the Nephilim, and they believed in the mating with the fallen angels. They just did. Terrible, terrible human sacrifices, etc. 3. And it was at that time the children of Chittim made war with the children of Tubal, and the children of Tubal were smitten before the children of Chittim. And the children of Chittim caused 370 men to fall from the children of Tubal. In 4 it says, and at that time the children of Tubal swore to the children of Chittim, saying, you shall not intermarry amongst us, and no man shall give his daughter to any of the sons of Chittim. See, there you go with your unholy bloodlines, folks. And this is the way it is. They do not believe in sharing their angelic DNA. Okay, in 5, for all the daughters of Tubal were in those days fair, for no women were found in the whole earth so fair as the daughters of Tubal. And all who delighted in the beauty of women went to the daughters of Tubal and took wives from them, and the sons of men, kings and princes, who greatly delighted in the beauty of women, took wives in those days from the daughters of Tubal. Very interesting how the family spread. 7. And at the end of 3 years, after the children of Tubal had sworn to the children of Chittim not to give them their daughters for wives, about 20 men of the children of Chittim went to take some of the daughters of Tubal, but they found none. For the children of Tubal kept their oaths not to intermarry with them, and they would not break their oaths. Period. Notice the oath taking. And Christ said to make no oaths. 9. And in the days of harvest the children of Tubal went into their fields to get in their harvest, when the young men of Chittim assembled and went to the city of Sabina, and each man took a young woman from the daughters of Tubal, and they came to their cities. 10. And the children of Tubal heard of it, and they went to make war with them. And they could not prevail over them, for the mountain was exceedingly high from them. And when they saw they could not prevail over them, they returned to their land. 11. And at the revolution of the year, the children of Tubal went and hired about 10,000 men from those cities that were near them, and they went to war with the children of Chittim. 12. And the children of Tubal went to war with the children of Chittim to destroy their land and to distress them. And in this engagement the children of Tubal prevailed over the children of Chittim. And the children of Chittim, seeing that they were not greatly distressed, lifted up their children which they had by the daughters of Tubal upon the walls which had been built, to be before the eyes of the children of Tubal. 13. And the children of Chittim said to them, have you come to make war with your own sons and daughters? And have we not been considered your flesh and bones from that time till now? 14. And when the children of Tubal heard this, they ceased to make war with the children of Chittim, and they went away. 15. And they returned to their cities, and the children of Chittim at that time assembled and built 2 cities by the sea, and they called one Pertu and the other Arizah. 16. And Abram, the son of Terah, was then 99 years old. At that time the Lord appeared to him, and he said to him, I will make my covenant between me and thee. That every male child be circumcised, thou and thy seed after thee. Again, that represents the Horus on top of the obelisk, the phallic symbol. That's where the Canaanite god went. That's where the devil went, up on the obelisk. And when you circumcised, you are separating yourself as an example for against the Canaanite religions, plural, of the earth. But now, after Christ came, Paul plainly taught that circumcision or non-circumcision availeth nothing. It is the circumcision of the heart, the mind, and the spirit that is your advantage. Okay, but in 18, at 8 days old shall it be circumcised, and this covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And now therefore thy name shall no more be called Abram, but Abraham, and thy wife shall no more be called Sarai, but Sarah. See, there's the correction I got. I appreciate the corrections, folks. Keep me straight. In 20 it says, For I will bless you both, and I will multiply your seed after you, that you shall become a great nation, and kings shall come forth from you. And that includes the New Jerusalem. You see, in the New Jerusalem, there is the holy nation, the holy seed, the holy family, and all of us are in that seed that know Jesus Christ.